Just checking. Want to make sure it worked. Okay, we're so glad you all came tonight. Thrilled to see your faces. Hopefully it will not be just once a year, but still. So I'm here, I'm April Boyd, president of the board. I'm only gonna be on a few more months and then signing her up. So we're gonna have an introduction of the board of directors and the librarian, so we're gonna start that here. You wanna introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Allie DiGiulio. I've lived in Northeast for about 10 years. This is my first full year on the board. Nice to see everybody.
Bill Beardsley. All you borough people know me as former tax collector, so I just fell into this position as treasurer here on the board, and I'll be here for however long they want to keep me around.
Hello, if we haven't met, I'm Sam, the librarian.
Okay. Hi, I'm Phyllis Hogue, and I'm the vice president.
Good evening, I'm Richard Bardall. This is my second term on the board. We're glad to be here. Thank you.
And we're happy to have him.
Thank you.
Glad to be back.
Nathan Sellers is not with us tonight. He's busy tonight, but he's our secretary. And Kara Haas is with us, but not with us in body tonight. And she's here for a little while longer. And then when she leaves, Lori Benedict will be taking and filling the rest of her position going forward. So that saying, we've had it all, we're gonna turn it over to Bill, the treasurer's report.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna stand up, and I don't need the microphone because I'm on borough council, and if you come to borough council, we actually have microphones by everybody's seat. And the people in the back of the room say, Bill Beardsley doesn't need a microphone because he's loud enough we can hear him without one. So I'm hoping that works here tonight. I'm just gonna be brief with this. First of all, a good thing, a positive thing, a plus thing. Erie Gives gave to the library $12,985, and we haven't received the Community Foundation money yet. We have received it, but it won't be on until next time. So that was another $2,000 on top of that. So those of you who gave to the library for the through the Community Foundation Erie Gives, thank you. We appreciate that very much. Okay, on the back of your packet, mini packet, let's call it that, you have the budget for this year. I just want to say, let's go to expenses first. Everybody worries about the expenses before the income. You can see the big increases in the wages for this next year. Wages have gone up. We anticipate some wages going up. We've adjusted it to that effect. We want to keep our people here at the library and keep them well paid. So in that regard, we had to, if you jump up about 6 lines ahead to PNC investment up in the income, you can see in 2025 that was $24,000. That's money that came out of $2,000 a month that came out of the PNC investment, and we upped that to $4,000. It's just it's kind of a slush fund that makes up the difference from the top to the bottom. So that's where we are with that. We are asking if you have already looked at this to endorse this, and we'll take a motion to accept this evening right now. Dennis Priester, a motion to accept. Lorraine, second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, and if there are any questions, you can ask myself or Sam. We sat down with the budget, Sam, myself, and April. We're the finance committee, so any questions, we will hopefully be able to answer them for you.
Thank you.
I am finished tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Phyllis Hogue. I'm the former president of Friends of McCord Library. First things first, can people in the back row hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is where it's going to be. The Friends of McCord Library is a volunteer organization. Our purpose is to promote and support McCord Library. We do that in several ways. For every year, there are 5 things we always do. For For fundraising, we hold 2 book sales. We volunteer at the Wine Fest. To support the library, we, in December and in January, we take care of the Christmas decorations. That supports the staff so they can continue focusing on their responsibility and taking care of the patrons. So we do that so they don't have to worry about that. Then to promote the library, we have the speaker series in February. And also, we have a potluck picnic in August, and that's just to promote better relations between the staff and the friends and the board, when the board shows up. Okay, that's what we do. Well, I'm just saying. And so that's what we do every year. You can depend on us to do those 5 things. However, we're also available if Sam has any ideas or needs help. And this year there were 3 other things we did. Sam had a wonderful fundraiser for the elevator. It was an open house, and the Friends of McCord Library, along with members of the board, helped staff the event. Then the Chamber of Commerce reached out and asked if we would be willing to have a book swap at the open market Saturday. So the Friends facilitated a book swap in July. Then in September, the community fair reached out to us and asked if we would be willing to have a table at their fair. And we did, so we promoted the library there. So those are the 3 extra things we did this year. So as you can see, we had a very busy year. And if anyone is interested in joining the Friends, or you want to find out what we're about, we meet the first Wednesday of the school months, September to July, in this room right here at 3 p.m. Feel free to stop by. And thank you for your time.
All right, now we're going to be hearing from our children's programmer, Lori Lutz.
Then they just have to listen to me for the
Okay,
rest
is
of
this
it.
gonna, can I stand right here? Okay, all right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Lori Lutz. I am the children's programmer here at McCord. Believe it or not, summer 2025 was my 5th summer as the children's programmer, and it was my favorite summer reading theme so far, Color Our World. I thought it was a great theme. We had, for the 2nd year in a row back, the magician, the popular magician, Chris Johnson. If you have a chance and we have him again, I invite everyone to come. He's very charismatic and fun. He gets the audience involved as well. So we're planning on having him back next summer as well. Looking forward to starting to plan, crazy as it sounds, summer reading for 2026. Takes us a long time. And I wanted to let you know that the theme for next summer is Unearth a Story. So hoping to touch on dinosaurs, paleontology, worms, underground animals, recycling, gardening, volcanoes, things like that. So kind of a fun theme as well. So that's all. Just wanted to introduce myself and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've come to the exciting part where you listen to me for about 30 minutes and I just keep going and going. But as you may have seen here, we do have some of our staff members here, and many of them are familiar faces. We did have one new employee join us this year. She joined us in the summer. Her name is Lindsay, and her family just moved to the area at the end of summer, and she stayed on after summer, and she helps as the children's program assistant and also as a clerk upstairs. So you may see her around, and her picture's there. Actually, could we turn off the lights? Is that okay with everyone? Okay. That's Lindsay right there. So you may see her in the children's area or at the front desk, and she is a great addition to the team. And you should recognize everyone else, or they may be here tonight. All right, you may have noticed that your packets this year were a little lighter because I chose to go the eco-friendly route and not include as many statistics. That being said, if you want a print copy, I would gladly print one off for you, and you can see me afterwards. But this is statistics of our computer usage, our social media usage, and so if you do want a copy of that, just let me know. one of our main services for the community is having public computers and having access to internet. So here is some information about how often those are used. Within the last year, we actually did upgrade our print system and our like how people log on to the computers, and it does match the rest of the Erie County libraries now. Well, I think there's a couple independents that don't have it yet, but we are matching the Erie County branches, and so it's much more familiar to people who are coming outside of Northeast, and it's much more easier for our staff in some ways because once people start using the computers, they know how to log on, and our staff don't have to log them on every time. And it was free to us because Erie already had that. So it's been a great change for people using our computers. And here's all the information about how often they're used. It says there that the average time on the computer is 27 minutes. And then the average number of users per month is 63. And then for our total number of computer users, it's 573. So then under that is our website, which we had 10,189 visits to last year, or this year. And then total number of followers on our social medias. For Instagram, we have 403, and Facebook, we have 1,585. And the great thing about social media is that's how we often promote a lot of our programs. So either that's where people hear about our programs, or that's where they'll see photos of different programs that happen. So if you're on social media, be sure to check us out. If not, we have print versions of promoting programs at the library as well, so you're more than welcome to stop by and get your information there. So then these are our circulation statistics, because that's still a main part of our service as well. And so if you're not familiar with interlibrary loan, that's where we're able to send and receive books throughout the entire state of Pennsylvania with participating libraries. And most libraries in Pennsylvania participate. And so we did lend 25 books outside of our library to, libraries all over, to Carnegie, to Scranton, and then we also borrowed 20 books from other libraries outside our system. For holds, our patrons placed 4,954 holds, and then we satisfied 4,721 holds within the year. We also gained 141 patrons, so that's great news too. And then our total number of patrons is 8,427. And then you'll see that we have 37,000 items about in our collection. And this number always fluctuates because one, we're always adding books, but we're also always weeding through our collection to make sure that we have room for the new books and that we don't have any books that are out of print, or I shouldn't say out of print, but are inaccurate, or perhaps a duplicate, or it's just dingy, and so we need to get an updated version. So that number is always fluctuating, but we try to keep it between, I would say, 36,000 and 40,000 items in our collection. So we actually did have a few memorials this year in our library. As some of you may know, Joby LaFuria was on our board and did pass away this year. And so that was very heartbreaking for us, but we did get a shelf in her memory. And so that is upstairs. It is our new nonfiction shelf. And then we also do have a water fountain that was replaced on the lower level, and that's in memory of Gordon Luke. And then another past board member, Agnes Huntley. There's an interactive toy on the wall over there that's in memory of her. All right, the events of 2025. So we had a lot of great programs in 2025, and we still have some that are coming up, and it was a really great year for programs. I think since COVID, we've slowly been returning to more in-person events, and I think this was so far this year has been a real testament to that, and we've had great numbers of people coming back to the library for all the different events that we host here. So we do have regularly scheduled programs, especially for children and teens. So we do have our weekly story times, which are 3 times a week for younger kids. And then we did just add, story time for K through 5, which is after school. And that's a new program, and that's called Read and Create. We also have one program that is accessible at all times, and that would be Dial a Story, where people can call and hear a story read to them whenever, wherever you are, whenever. the phone number connects you with a story read to you whenever you need it. So that is a 24/7 program we offer. And then we have a STEM program for all ages, one time per week as well. And then for teens, we do have a graphic novel club that meets once per month, and that's where they can talk about graphic novels, which are a very popular form of text that younger kids are reading now. And then craft afternoons, which is usually a craft-based activity offered 2 times per month for teens. All right, so now we're kind of just going to go through each month and talk about what happened at the library. So for adults, we have increased the programs offered for adults, and you'll just see those throughout the year. But when I talk about these programs, in parentheses next to it is the total number of participants at that program. And then if we had the program more than once, or if you'll see for the children programs, it kind of gives you a total of how many we had that program at the beginning. So for Winter Bingo, we had 34 participants. This was an opportunity for folks to read books throughout the winter and return a bingo card and enter their name for prize. And then we had the tea library, and lots of folks love the tea library. As you can see, we had 150 people participate, and they're able to just visit our tea library whenever they come to the library and take a tea bag of their choice during the winter months. For teens, we always have a take and make craft, which is actually available for all ages, but it's kind of geared towards our teens and tweens. And so that month they took 24. And then we did have, and I will say teens are very hard to get to the library, which I've heard from a lot of educators and other folks working with that age group at this time. Perhaps maybe part of COVID where they were at home a lot. It's been harder to get them back out. So it's something that we do have to work with continually and find ways to connect with them. But anyways, for children, we had 14 storytime programs, and then 1 all-age Saturday program with the winter crafts and therapy dogs. Okay, in February, as Phyllis said, we have the February speaker series. And so at those 4 sessions, we had a total of 147 people come to it. And then we had I would say, we usually have trivia nights in the summer if you're not aware, but we did have a winter one for the first time, and we had 28 folks come to that. And then we also hosted Blind Date with a Book, where folks can check out a book that's wrapped up and go home and read it, and it might be something that they wouldn't ordinarily check out. So we had 37 people participate in that and check out books. For the teens, we had the Take and Makes again, and they took 23 people took Take and Makes, and then we had the Graphic Novel Club with 4 participants and 13 story times with 130 attendees. For March, we had something where folks could vote on different popular books within that circulated in the previous year, sort of like March Madness, where there was a bracket that they could keep voting for books, and then we had one that won. We also had a spring wreath class, which was a lot of fun. And then for the teens, we had bracelet making, Take and Makes again, Graphic Novel Club again, and then for children we had Lego Club, and then 15 storytime programs with 126 attendees, and then 1 Saturday program where we had a local author actually. She has written a children's book, and she came and read it, and then it was followed by crafts. So in April, that's National Library Week if you're not aware, and we try to do different programs for everyone to raise awareness of libraries and how great they are. And we always try to do a patron appreciation during that, and that is something that the board and friends donate different treats for, and we pass those out to patrons because without the patrons we wouldn't be here, and we want to show our appreciation to them. And so that was a great way to show them how much we appreciate them. We also had a Take a Poem activity where people could just take a strip of paper that had a poem, since April is National Poetry Month. And then we also had the Seed Library, and you'll see it says Part 1. We had it in May as well. And so in April, 146 seed packets were dispersed. And this is just something that we do at start in April because that is Earth Day is in April. So we want to, keep growing things and pollinating and helping people with that and making Northeast a more beautiful place. For our teens, we had origami, and I think that was the program and the Take and Make that month. And then for Graphic Novel Club, we had 4. Again, Lego Club, That month we had 10 storytime programs with 87 attendees and one Saturday program where it was crafts and therapy dogs. And this is also when we added these different things in the pictures. You'll see the interactive tree that's in memory of Aggie, and then another one that's kind of looking like a Rubik's Cube. It's on a bookshelf over there, and then something called the Exploration Station. So these were all, we got these through a grant. It's the Useful Choices grant. You may remember a couple of years ago, we also got the STEM station over in the entrance of the Children's Library. It was with the same grant. And so Lori was the one who oversaw this and was able to kind of get that grant money. The library also made a contribution in honor of Aggie, and so that's kind of how we got these really great activities and interactive things for the children to use, so that we always have something for them to kind of engage their minds with. All right, so then in May, we had a program for adults called Skincare of the Ancient World, where we made well, first we learned about the skincare practices of the ancient world, and then we got to make some. So we made a soak for baths, and then we also made a lip scrub, I think. Was that it? Was it? Yeah, a face scrub, sorry. And so those are the two things we made, and we got to learn a lot about that. And then we also had the second part of the seed library. I think it ended midway through the month, so it's a little smaller, only 41 people. And then teens had their take and make, and then graphic novel club, Lego club for the children, and then we also had 12 storytime programs with 154 attendees, and then another Saturday program of crafts and therapy dogs. So, actually, yeah. Oh yes, and then our Elevate Our Library fundraiser, as Phyllis mentioned, this was a great fundraiser we had for our elevator. It was a great event, and if you were there, thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting the library. And I just appreciate all the help that went into that. It was a great success. We had 89 people come, and were able to raise over $7,500. And it was just a fun night of food, music, a silent auction, which a lot of community members contributed to, door prizes, and then a book bingo where people could play bingo and win books. And then, as Lori said, our summer reading was Color Our World. So it was a really great summer reading theme, I think. It was a lot about creativity and all the different ways that people can express creativity. So there's a picture of Chris Johnson. He's the magician, and he is very great. If you want to come see, he says he's fun-loving for kids and adults, and that's very true. And I saw him when I was a kid, and he was funny then, he's funny now. And so he really is great, though. Because he does a show that is specific to libraries, which doesn't always happen, but he really does tie in the library theme a lot, which is great. And so that's the children's, but for the adults, we actually had a local watercolor artist, Esther Hong, and that was great. She got to show us Korean watercolor techniques, and it was very interactive and a lot of fun. And she is very involved at the Erie Art Museum as well, so you might see her stuff there, where she also teaches classes. We had our first summer trivia night, and then we had Coloring for Grown-Ups, which was a passive program that we offered throughout the summer where grown-ups or adults could just come and take a few minutes out of their day and color a bookmark or a picture if they wanted to. And then the teens had 2 programs in June, and that was eraser carving, and where they would make stamps out of erasers with different carving tools, and then visible mending. And then this is when our programs for children become even more frequent and even more attended because the kids are out of school. So we had 11 story times for age 0 to 5, and 234 people came to those. And then for all age programs, which we typically do on Thursdays after Picnic in the Park, apart from the magic show, which was on a Saturday. And so you'll see as I go through the June and July, we had a lot of different creativity-based all-age programs that we try to, bring in people from the community for. So we had cello music and coloring, and then David Gorman, which there's a picture of him on the next page. If you're not familiar with him, he's a local author, and he actually writes children's books that take place in Waldameer. And it's the Waldameer Mystery Files, and we do have them here in the library, but they're very cute, and if you're from the Erie area, they're very special because you are familiar with Waldameer. And so his family is actually connected with the Waldameer amusement park. And so he writes these books. And so he was able to come and kind of talk about that, which was really special. And then, as we've said, the magic show, Chris Johnson. So in July, there's David Gorman. In July, we had a film talk. And so this was where a local filmmaker actually came and talked about her process on different independent films that she's worked on. And she also got to kind of just talk about her experience as a filmmaker and the difficulties and the rewards that are often found with it. We also had a trivia night again, and then we had coloring for grown-ups. And then for the teens, there were quite a few different activities that they could do. So there was velvet posters that they could color, wood burning, memory box, they were decorating memory boxes, painting shirts, and weaving. And then we had 15 0 to 5 age storytime programs with 291 attendees, and then 5 all-age programs with a total of 163 attendees. And so these were therapy dogs and crafts. The mayor visited the library. Yvonne Lloyd, who some of you may know, she's our secretary of the Friends. She has also written a book for children. And she read it and then did a little thing about movement and color. And then we also had environmental programs. So then August, we did have, I think 1 week of summer reading, or maybe 2. And so it did start to slow down a little bit. But we did have a musician talk, and that was with Abigail Hagel, which you may know who she is. But she came and talked about what it's like to be a musician, a working musician, and how it's maybe not as glamorous as we always think it might be, and the difficulty and hard work that it really takes to be a musician. And she also gave a sample of her talents. And then we also had a trivia night. And then for the teens, we had cardboard cosplay, where they got to make different cosplay costumes out of cardboard. And then for the children, we had 6 age 0 to 5 storytime programs with 105 attendees, and then 2 all-age programs with 70 attendees. And one of those was the children's museum visit, which is always a very popular one because we have interactive activities from the museum brought to the library where they're able to kind of play with them, and you'll see that's one of them on the top. So here are the totals for summer reading. I will say, all in all, it's either increased or stayed about the same for registration. So for the adults, we had 124 registered, and that's an increase of 23 from last year. And then we had 44 registered for the teens, which is about the same as the year before, maybe a 1 or 2 off. And then children, we had 257 registered, which is also an increase of 20. So all in all, it's really great, and we're very pleased with how many people use the library in the summer, and it's a real testament of how important they are during that summer slump for kids especially. And they're able to keep their literacy sharp and engage with other kids at the library. Okay, so that brings us to September, which was a very exciting month where we had our elevator construction. And I did just want to kind of briefly go over the finances of that. We, like I said, raised $7,500 at the fundraiser, but all in all, we had about $12,000 in community support for that. And then we also received a grant from ECGRA in Erie for $65,000. And then we also received a grant from the Herzl Foundation locally, and that was for $31,000. And then we also will be receiving a grant from the Northeast Community Foundation for $35,000. So all in all, nothing came out of the library's investment fund or pocket. It was all funded through grants and community support, which was great news because the total was $141,000. So construction lasted 4 weeks, and we closed for the first week, but then offered curbside pickup for the remaining 3. And all in all, the elevator works great, and we're very pleased to be able to have an updated elevator that continues to offer the accessibility that we would like to offer for the community. And if you haven't tried it out, try it out. So then we had, in September is when we start our second year of Spice Club, and if you haven't signed up for Spice Club, I encourage you to do so. Each month from September through December, you get a sample of a spice as well as a packet of recipes that feature that spice. And then you get to learn a little bit about the spice as well. There's some background info on it. This year so far, we've had cardamom, and this month was mustard. So there's still 2 months. You can still sign up. And then we also had a herbal heating pad class where folks were able to make a rice bag with herbs in it and they got to pick out which herbs they wanted in it, and we will be offering this class again. For teens, we had Graphic Novel Club and the Take and Make. For children, we did go down we went from 3 programs a week to 2 during the construction, just to cut back on how much foot traffic we had in the library, especially with kids. We didn't want to, have kids in the way of heavy work being done. And a lot of moms use the elevator. So to kind of minimize any issues with that, we did cut down to 2 programs a week. So we had 9 story times and 157 participants or attendees. So it was still quite a few. And then for September is when we also started our new program of Read and Create, and that's that program I mentioned that's after school, and it's K through 5, and that is led by Lindsay. And then we also started doing STEAM Club weekly, which is a program we had done in the past. We switched to Lego Club, and now we're back to STEAM Club. All right, which brings us to October, and of course, it's not the whole month, but it's most of the month. And so for the adults, we had, like I said, Spice Club again. And we have 68 people who get a spice each month. And then Harry Potter trivia, which was a lot of fun. And then we had a DIY Viking helmet where the teens could make a Viking helmet out of cardboard. And then we did have this really exciting opportunity to partner with the WQLN station. You may have heard of their PBS Stream Machine, which is a van that they bring to libraries and different, I think also schools, and they're able to do a program for your children who are attending, and it's a stream, which is similar to STEAM, so it's a STEAM-based activity, and we had a really great turnout for that, and it was a lot of fun, and they're actually going to be coming back in June, and it's a free program, I should say, that they offer, which is really great. And then we had STEAM Club, and then we had 8 story times for 0 to 5 with 98 participants. And then we also had the firefighter visit this week, which was a lot of fun. And we still have another program tomorrow. So, Saturday, no, not Saturday of this week, next week. No, this Saturday actually, sorry. Is it November already? Yes. Okay. So yes, on Saturday the 1st, if you want to see a puppet story time, we will have a puppet story time for kiddos and families. And then we also have all these other programs happening. So like I said, if you haven't signed up for Spice Club, this is my last time to tell you to sign up for Spice Club. And then we're going to have a paper pumpkin house craft for the teens. And then our regularly scheduled programs of Read and Create and STEAM Club and our story times. And then we also have a youth art show reception that's going to take place next Thursday at 5:30. This wall over here is going to be displaying different artwork that children are submitting this week. It's open for pre-K through 5th grade. So if you have any kids in your life, maybe have them drop off artwork. And it'll be on display for the month of November. And then in December, we do have the Spice Club in December too, I forgot about that. But we're also going to have the Art of Tea Blending workshop where participants are going to be able to make their own tea blends and then take them home after sampling them here. And that will be a registered class. So if you're interested, registration opens up halfway through November. And then the teens will have their craft reading sessions and take and makes. And then we're going to offer our regular programs of Read and Create, Story Time, and then STEAM Club, 0 to 5 story times. And then we're also going to have activities during Sugar Plum Saturday and a Christmas program on Saturday the 20th. So, the 13th, my bad. December 13th. So a lot going on at the library as always, and it's a lot of fun. So I do encourage you, if you're not already attending programs, to stop by and see what's going on. There's something for everyone, and that is all I have for you tonight. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Chris.
Those books you said were put on hold, and there were so many difference in the numbers of the ones that you were able to service.
Mhm.
Why? What was the?
So when the holds that were placed, that's when our patrons make the holds. So that is if patrons who are McCord patrons place a hold. The ones that are satisfied are ones that we send throughout the whole county or to our own patrons. So because not every hold that our patrons place is satisfied by us. Sometimes we're getting it from Blasco or Mill Creek, and so that's kind of just how many we've placed countywide, and then how many we've satisfied countywide.
Okay, now I see.
Yeah. Good question though, because it is a little confusing. Any other questions? No? All right. Time for the door prize. And this year it is a mom as well as a $25 gift card to Tia's. And so Heather is going to bring forward the tickets. So now is the time to pull out your ticket.
I won't.
And could you, yes, thank you.
Wake up, everybody can wake up now.
Okay.
Heather, do you want to say it into the microphone?
Sure, that is mine.
Yay. All right, the winning ticket number is 767137.
That's you.
It's me.
Oh, Phyllis won.
That's great, Phyllis.
I know, she said,
Didn't you win one other time? I think you did, no?
I won a mom once. but
Yes,
I
yes,
killed
well, you
it
get
right
another
away.
one.
I killed it right
Thank
away.
you everyone for coming, and we have some cookies and cider for you to enjoy.
See, how about
And we really do appreciate all of your support for the library. Thank you.
that?